So Women in Translation Month. I have some books for you and I decided it's time to add my 2 cents. Here are my authors. As I was writing this, here's my plan. I realized that most of these books have something in common, and that is a certain level of strangeness to them. So today I will also be rating them strange-wise, and you can either be encouraged by that to choose them or to avoid. If you see me looking down, that's me reading my notes. So Italy. Anything by Elena Ferrante. This is a Elena Ferrante fan page. I would recommend her Neapolitan novels. If you have commitment issues and you would like to read something shorter, then I would go for The Days of Abandonment. It's a woman whose husband cheats on her with a minor who was their children's nanny, so he's a creep. She descends into this full-on breakdown and she self-isolates, which is kind of bad because she has 2 children in the house and she is dependent on her youngest daughter to kind of bring her back. On a weirdness scale, I would give it a 10 out of 10. Green. I have this book with me. I don't think you would see it on Bookstagram because it's very niche. I found it in a bookstore in Greece, in Athens. It's called The Ada Alexander by Margarita Liberacchi. It's also translated by a woman, which is really cool. The father leads a double life. He has 2 families and he gives the same first names to both sets of children, which is really weird. And in an atmosphere of increasing unease and mistrust, the half-siblings meet, love, hate, and betray one another. Her characters must confront their doubles as individual and collective identity is called into question in this style of psychological and political haunting. Something really cool is that Camus said, "I am deeply moved by this book. It is true poetry." So if he said it, you need to read it. On a weirdness scale, I will give it a 9 out of 10 because it's really absurd and you really have no idea what's going on. Japan. When I think of Japanese literature, what comes to mind is sort of deep loneliness, which they probably have because of the cult of hyper-individuality, and that kind of leads to people self-isolating and not being so close or open with each other. While I'm sad for them, I do really like to read about this. So these are the books that explore this feeling. Yuko Tsushima with Territory of Light. I love this book. It feels very light. Into spring, a young woman left by her husband starts a new life in Tokyo. Territory of Light follows her over this course of a year as she struggles to bring up her 2-year-old daughter alone. Her new home is filled with light streaming through the windows, so bright you have to squint, but she finds herself plummeting deeper into darkness, becoming unstable. As the months come and go and the seasons turn, she must confront what she has lost and what she will become. Someone actually on the back describes it as disturbing and dreamlike, like Elena Ferrante's The Days of Abandonment, so maybe I see why I liked it. I really liked that it had very beautiful descriptions and a very airy and like luminous vibe. Like this was the vibe. And it creates a feeling of instability. The themes are motherhood, loneliness, separation, and losing control over one's life. Then we have 3 books by Meiko Kawakami. I will start with my least favorite. This is a much darker and disturbing book about 2 bullied teenagers who form a friendship, and it deals with cruelty, loneliness, and the question of why people hurt each other because they're bullied, so it's a lot of bullying going on. I really don't care about high school in books. Contrary to Taylor Swift, I really dislike this theme, so I did not have so much fun reading about high school life. Weirdness, 3 out of 10. The next one, All the Lovers in the Night. And I wrote, I'm just reading my notes, a quiet and introspective novel about a lonely woman in her 30s who works as a proofreader and becomes increasingly isolated from the world around her. And she does meet someone though, so they attempt to connect. And I think this is kind of a book about trying to connect with other people, and sometimes it doesn't really work out, and then you're still isolated. So this is the vibe of the book, and here are some quotes. Weirdness, 2 out of 10. Then my favorite out of the 3 books by her that I read is Breast and Eggs. The first part is about the main character's sister, whose name I forgot, wants to get a breast implant, so it's about body alteration in a way, so kind of commentary on that. And the second part is the main character who decides to have the child like artificially, which I was like mind blown when I read this. I think at 19 I was like, oh my god, you can have a child without a man, that's so cool, I'm gonna do that. So I think this was very inspiring to read. Yeah, because after reading about so many and seeing so many women get abused in real life, you know, by their husbands and suffering with their child and stuff like that, so it's really nice to see a woman who actually is gonna like decides to have a child without a man. The vibe of it is also really nice. Weirdness level, I would say 4 out of 10. And then I think my favorite book from everything I've read from Japan, except for maybe some Murakami books, is this. This is such a good book. I think I read it in about 2 days. I really like that the book feels very light, despite of talking about some complicated and heavy topics such as death. In both, it's actually 2 stories here. As it's called Kitchen, there are many cute descriptions of food, just really delicious to read. Weirdness, I would say 6 out of 10 in a positive way. And then we have Brazil with Paris Lispector. I read 3 books by her, this one, and this. But the other 2 are kind of too confusing and I don't think they're worth recommending. So I would just recommend this one, called An Apprenticeship or The Book of Pleasures. Laurie is a lonely, you can see this is kind of the theme of today's video, is a lonely school teacher living in Rio who begins a relationship with Ulysses, a philosophy professor. He refuses to fully commit to her until she learns to be comfortable with herself. So the novel follows Laurie's gradual emotional and sexual awakening. This book is just so strange. I think it was the first time I read something where I thought that, wow, you can write like this. I will give you some examples of what I mean. It focuses on every experience, every thought. It's just very visceral and kind of, I don't know, like a painting, if that makes sense. Weirdness level, I would say 10 out of 10 because it's just so strange. France. For whatever reason, France is also one of my favorite countries. I could recommend an ernaux. Happening. This is the first book I read by her and I really love it, and she writes really good. In a France where abortion was illegal, she attempted in vain to self-administer the abortion with the trigger warning knitting needle. Fearful and desperate, she finally located an abortionist and she ended up in a hospital emergency ward where she nearly dies. In Happening, ernaux shifts through her memories and her journal entries dating from those days. Cleanly, she gleans the meaning of her experience. So I just thought, yeah, it's not like gore or something, you know, it's really meaningful and very well written. I think you can write about anything if you write really well. I love this, and here are some parts that I liked. And the next one is Simple Passion. I'll also read you the blurb. Blurring the line between fact and fiction, she attempts to plot the emotional and physical course of her 2-year relationship with a married man, where every word, event, and person either provokes a connection with her beloved or is subject to her cold indifference. It's a very obsessive book. They have a very intense relationship, then he ghosts her and she breaks down like crazy. She doesn't take it well. Weirdness, 8 out of 10 because they're just very intense. Poland with Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. It's a murder mystery set in a remote Polish village. and the narrator is a strange old woman who's passionate about astrology and animals. She thinks she can talk to them, or she can talk to them, I don't remember exactly. When several local hunters are found dead, she becomes convinced that animals are taking revenge on humans. Very interesting, because I like when I don't know what's going on and I kind of don't trust the narrator, or I trust the narrator and then I find out that no, they're lying, or they were just like delusional. Weirdness level 9 out of 10. So this is everything I can recommend for now. Some geographical regions are missing from this video, so now it's time for you to recommend me books. I'd like to read something from South Asia, China, Latin America, Middle East, and yeah, everything else that I didn't mention. So if you have something to recommend me, please do. My next read is this book. It's very hyped at the moment. Yeah, see you next time. Bye.